Something is missing from the Switch 2 and you probably didn't catch it. Ever since the Switch 2 Direct, we've been chock full with updates, pricing, and new features about the system, and it seems as if everything we could know is already out on the table. Yet among the plethora of launch titles, third-party games, and support for Gamecube, there's been a glaring omission in this lineup, and that is Wii games. In fact, some of the best-selling Nintendo games of all time are bafflingly missing from the Switch and Switch 2 library. The Wii is the most sold console behind the Switch, and included groundbreaking, top-selling games. What makes it more interesting is the fact that Nintendo is willing to remaster some Wii titles with select care, yet they leave their heaviest hitters completely ignored. Even Wii U games have received special treatment with deluxe editions and been made widely available. So why is Nintendo ignoring their most beloved games? What's causing the absence of some of the greatest Wii titles on the Switch 2? Well, I looked into Nintendo's philosophy for re-releasing games and found a blueprint for how they approach them. In actuality, when deciding which games to remake and re-release, Nintendo considers two factors above all else: nostalgia and newness. It might be easy to think that Nintendo is being arbitrary when choosing which game to remake or port, but nothing could be further from the truth. When thinking about re-releasing a product, Nintendo considers those products as a means to an end, at least in part. You see, Nintendo has a specific mindset when it comes to marketing past games, and that is they use nostalgia strategically. To see this in action, look at what Nintendo did with the release of the NES and SNES classic consoles. Like a game remake, this was a product entirely built around nostalgia. But the point of making and releasing a newer version of each console wasn't simply to make money off the products themselves. Look at what a former Nintendo president said about the release. "We see nostalgic interest in these products as an opportunity to draw consumers' attention to our latest game system, NintendoSwitch." Did you notice the strategy there? The main utilization of nostalgia is to draw consumers' attention. In this case to the Switch, which at the time was still a few months from release. The way the company used nostalgia was deliberate, because they knew it would have a greater payoff for their really big upcoming console launch. Nostalgia is used like a magnet, attracting customers' attention so that they're then excited for the next new thing. The same marketing strategy is used with individual game re-releases, as was the case with the Thousand Year Door remake. It was originally announced in the September 2023 Direct, but afterwards Nintendo did something interesting. They sent out a survey asking fans if they had ever heard of this game. This allowed them to measure fans' familiarity with this title, and in doing so, they could measure exactly what percentage of fans would buy the game based on nostalgia. If they can tell that nostalgia is the major contributing factor to a game's success, then they know that other similar games will sell well and drive nostalgically minded new customers to the console. Just look at the timeline of this game and it becomes clear. Thousand Year Door was released in May 2024, and just 1 month later, Mario & Luigi Brothership, a new RPG, was announced. The nostalgic magnet provided by Thousand Year Door was the catalyst Nintendo used to attract fans to buy their new RPG. Another case of strategically using nostalgia. But what about Wii games? There's plenty of demand for beloved Wii titles like Twilight Princess, not to mention massive nostalgia for games like Wii Sports Resort. Why not just release them again and sell millions of copies on the Switch 2? The thing is, Nintendo knows they could simply keep remaking old games and rake in mountains of cash. But as much as people cherish old games, that would be a death knell for the company's guiding philosophy, which they've been telling us outright for years. Risa Tabata, an assistant producer from the company, talked about this very thing here. "The philosophy of game creation that Mr. Tanabe learned from Mr. Miyamoto, and that in turn he's imparted to me, is to challenge yourself to create new gameplay. Games are entertainment, so I want people who play our games to say, wow. We can't do exactly the same thing that's been done before." This is why, when given the opportunity, Nintendo is leaving so many classic Wii titles in the dust. It's why they would rather remake NintendoSwitch Sports than remaster and cash in on Wii Sports Resort, even if the risk of creating something new is much higher and may not pay off. This quote reveals the biggest reason why Wii games are missing. Nintendo prioritizes newness. It's a mindset the company has ingrained and still maintains today. That may be all well and good. I mean, we all like new games. But why do some Wii games get special treatment while other beloved games don't? How does Nintendo choose which games to remake and re-release? I think we can get a better idea of why by looking at a big Switch 2 announcement, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Back in June 2024, we got the news that Donkey Kong Country Returns HD would be coming to Switch, which caused some mixed reactions based on the $60 price charge for a 15-year-old game. Regardless, this got fans excited and they rushed to pick it up. Cut to many months later, and we get another DK-related announcement, but it's a brand new game on the Switch 2, and most important, has new gameplay elements never seen in the DK franchise. The priority of DK Country Returns was to springboard added attention and excitement to the series' brand new game. Of course, they didn't need a remake to get fans excited, but with more attention comes more sales, both for the remake and the series' new entry. Nintendo selectively chooses which classic game to remake based on its relationship to new games being developed. There is no hard and fast rule that they must remake X amount of games per year, but rather a company attitude that lets them zero in on which remake would be relevant and would complement current projects. In other words, which game would be the perfect nostalgia magnet for what they currently have planned. Based on that mindset, it seems like big Wii games just aren't a priority. And while part of me still finds that surprising, I understand that the emphasis on new experiences typically outweighs working on old games. It makes sense that they would only invest the time and money on remakes that relate to new projects. Unfortunately, given this attitude towards remakes, this probably means less games from the Wii era. But at least we can know the games we do get are released for a reason. And who knows, maybe the Switch 2 has more re-releases up its sleeve that we just don't know about. For now, it looks like we'll just have to wait and see. If you like this video, all I ask for is a subscribe. Now, I did mention a few Switch 1 remakes in this video, but not nearly as many as I would like to see on Switch 2, which this video actually covers, so you can go watch it right now.